Welcome to the first Tempo Storm Meta Snapshot breakdown since the Year of the Phoenix has started. This happens to be the 100th edition of our standard Meta Snapshot, so we want to take a moment to sincerely thank you all for your support all of this time. It means the world to us here at Tempo Storm, and we want to continue doing what we can to give you the best entertainment and educational content that we can provide. Seriously though, thank you all once again for the support. Ashes of Outland has arrived, and with it, the Year of the Phoenix has begun. The meta has changed drastically due to cards rotating out, a new expansion being released, and even the launch of a new class. While the meta has changed quite a bit thanks to the new additions, what really changed the meta was the nerfs to the Demon Hunter class. Despite Demon Hunter coming into Hearthstone with less cards than the other classes, the cards it was given were immensely powerful, making the class overperform following the release of the expansion. While Demon Hunter held a tight grip on the meta before the nerfs, the meta is more diverse now. As always, before we take a deeper look into the top tiers of the meta, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up to date with all of our Hearthstone content. Now let's jump right into Tier 1. Leading off Tier 1 is none other than Aggro Demon Hunter. Despite being nerfed immediately following the expansion's release, Illidan still has been managing to make ladder his playground. This archetype is truly powerful and versatile, and can close games out before they feel like they've even started. The majority of the meta has warped around trying to answer Demon Hunter, and it seems nearly impossible to do so at this rate. Aggro Demon Hunter has a lot of favorable matchups between the top two tiers, but performs best against Dragon Hunter. The Hunter can have a difficult time taking the board against the Demon Hunter, and it also can't effectively race the Demon Hunter either, leaving the matchup to feel very bad from Rexar's side. There isn't much when it comes to bad matchups for Illidan, but Galakron Control Warlock can be fairly rough for the Demon Hunters. Warlock not only has the tools to fight for board defensively, but also has access to Sacrificial Pact, allowing them to not only remove a demon, but heal at the same time. We expect Aggro Demon Hunter to remain at the top of the meta until the next balance patch. Next up in Tier 1 is the previously mentioned Galakron Control Warlock. This archetype was strong in previous metas, but typically requires the right meta for it to succeed, which led to it falling out in previous months. Now with aggressive decks and Demon Hunter on the rise, Galakron Control Warlock is finding that the meta is hand-tailored for it. This slow Warlock archetype preys on aggressive decks such as Token Druid or Zoo Warlock. Both of these archetypes struggle to deal with the constant removal that the Warlock has access to, and once the game gets to the later stages, they eventually succumb to the Warlock's threats. As for bad matchups, decks like Dragon Hunter can be problematic for this slow Warlock. While the Warlock is able to clear the board, the Hunter can easily apply pressure through Stormhammer and close the game out with its burst. Following this Hunter archetype is Token Druid. Many players are surprised by this archetype's success, as Druid struggled pretty heavily before. Malfurion has been enjoying this new meta and has been reminding players what a board-based Druid deck looks like. Token Druid plays like you might remember it, but also has been featuring a spell package lately to accompany the new card, Glowfly Swarm. This card is the key to Token Druid's success, so expect the spell package to be around as long as the archetype will. Token Druid succeeds most when facing off against decks that take time to ramp up, then can struggle with large boards. A good example of this is Tempo Rogue. Barring a large Edwin early, Rogue tends to summon smaller minions in the beginning of the game, giving the Druid time to get to its win condition of flooding the board. As you'd expect, this deck can struggle against control decks due to their consistent board wipes. Luckily for Token Druid, the meta doesn't have many of them, but this makes Galakron Control Warlock a difficult matchup for the Druid to compete in. The last deck we'll be looking at in Tier 1 today is familiar to many players. Tempo Rogue is an archetype that seems to refuse to leave the meta no matter what happens. Thanks to a combination of solid rogue cards, as well as an efficient Galakron engine, this archetype is nothing to scoff at. If it wasn't for Demon Hunter taking the meta by force, it's likely we would have seen Tempo Rogue leading the meta. Luckily for us, we get to experience a change of pace with demons leading the charge for once. Tempo Rogue is one of the best performing decks against Galakron Control Warlock, making it a solid choice for anyone looking to climb the ladder. Sadly, every deck has bad matchups, so when playing Tempo Rogue, be on the lookout for aggressive decks like Aggro Demon Hunter or Token Druid, as both can easily run away with the game. While Tier 1 features a lot of powerful decks that are leading the meta, especially at the highest legend ranks, Tier 2 still has a lot of worthy competitors. The decks in Tier 2 are very versatile and powerful, but simply fall a bit short of the consistency of the Tier 1 decks. Let's wrap up this Tempo Storm Meta Snapshot breakdown by taking a look at the 3 best performing decks within Tier 2. Leading off Tier 2 is Zoo Warlock. We can safely say that we did not expect Zoo Warlock to be performing as well as it has been doing. The archetype has always had potential and tends to do well at the start of the meta, but seeing it on the cusp of Tier 1 is slightly surprising. Warlock received a lot of powerful tools in this expansion, especially the new 2-mana minion, Imprisoned Scrap Trap Imp. This minion gives the deck a lot of gas and allows them to play overstated minions hyper-aggressively. Zoo Warlock performs best against some of the other board-centric decks, such as Dragon Hunter or Token Druid, as thanks to the buffed Warlock minions, it's able to take as many value trades as it needs. Much like other aggressive decks, control decks are problematic for Zoo. Typically, Zoo Warlock has a very difficult time competing against control decks, and as such, Galakrond Warlock can be a troublesome matchup for the Zoo Warlock. Next up in Tier 2 is another Demon Hunter deck with Highlander Demon Hunter. While this archetype is not as strong as the previously mentioned Aggro Demon Hunter, the deck seriously packs a punch and can compete with the best of the best. Highlander Demon Hunter has a lot of flexibility and gets to make use of a lot of Demon Hunter cards while abusing the true power of Zephyrus the Great. Highlander Demon Hunter is a solid counter to Tempo Rogue, as you can be flexible enough to play the game however needed. Whether you need to step up and be the aggressor or fall onto your back foot and play defensively, the deck can get you there. Highlander Demon Hunter tends to struggle against its aggro counterpart or even Highlander Hunter. While Highlander Demon Hunter can get there in these matchups, it can be fairly difficult at times. The last deck that we'll be taking a look at today is Dragon Hunter. The meta wouldn't feel right if Rexxar didn't have a place near the top. Dragon Hunter had complete control of the meta a few patches ago, but now it finds itself sitting near the middle of Tier 2. This archetype can still run rampant when it draws into the right hands, but it simply isn't as strong as decks like Aggro Demon Hunter. Dragon Hunter continues to play out like it used to, fighting for board early while it closes the game out with its direct damage. Dragon Hunter has a really good matchup against Highlander decks like Rogue or Hunter. Both of these archetypes lack the consistent early game to stave off the Hunter's early pressure, leaving them to fall victim to the horde of dragons. As for bad matchups, Dragon Hunter has a horrid matchup against Aggro Demon Hunter, as the Demon Hunter essentially does everything the Hunter does, but better. The Ashes of Outland meta continues to develop while players are discovering new decks, but as it stands, it seems like some of the top performers might be slightly overtuned compared to others. What do you think of the meta so far? Do you agree with the sentiment that Demon Hunter is overtuned, or do you think it's fine just the way it is? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thank you for supporting our Meta Snapshot Breakdown series. Be sure to subscribe to our channel to keep up with all of our Hearthstone content, as well as to turn notifications on while you're at it. We'll see you all next time.